Welcome everybody to another Lowdown on Ridertown with the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders. 98.1 KHAK. Coop here with you. And if I've learned one thing from these Lowdown broadcasts, is that I should not take a week off, otherwise I'm going to be out of a job. Last week, Max and Jordan filled in, and from what I saw on Facebook, they did a bang-up job, so a round of applause for those guys for filling in. I'm telling you, I've got to watch my back on this stuff, so that's why I make sure I stay pretty consistent with coming on here. So I want to thank them for filling in last week. Sounds like a fun show all around from the guys. A lot of good questions, a lot of good interactions, and a ton of laughs as well. So I'm back in the hosting chair tonight, and I'm joined by a stacked stage. We have head coach Mark Carlson, but also players Alex Gagne, Nikolai Mayorov, and Yegor Klavdiev. So, Alex, I want to thank you, first off, because Alex is going to kind of serve as the translator tonight. He's going to kind of be the throughway as we ask questions. But we'll also keep it pretty simple on the guys, but I did get quite a bit of information from the housing families as well. Before we get into the questions, I want to do a little housekeeping. I want to thank the Union Station, as always, for having us each and every week for the Lowdown. Great food and drink specials, best pizza, arguably the best pizza in town. You got to come on out and try it if you haven't before. I want to thank Rick Boots for taking the photos during our broadcasts. Always helps to have images to go with the sound. Metro Studios for having the audio set up for us each and every week. And, of course, the housing families for providing the information each and every week as well. So I want to thank them. Also, a reminder that I talk about the games, upcoming games for the Rough Riders, and a little bit about this show. I do little recaps during my on-air shift at K-Hawk. That's 10 to 2 this coming Saturday, so if you want to tune in for that, we talk a little bit about the Lowdown, and we also talk about the upcoming games for the Rough Riders. So we're going to get into the questions from the guys here. And, Coach, I'll start with you. This probably would have been best served for the goalie edition of the show, the goalie version of the show about a month back. But this is the big news around hockey this past weekend. The Zamboni driver, he gets called in for the Carolina Hurricanes. He's the backup. He gets in there, gives up a couple quick goals, but then he ends up recording a win. I have to ask you, one, your thoughts about that situation. That's pretty odd. And then, secondly, the weirdest thing you've experienced as a coach in hockey overall. That has to be up there overall. But personally, what are some of the odder things you've witnessed?
Well, that's a great story, Coop. Is this thing on? Can you guys hear me? Yeah? Kinda? Not really?
Is it on?
Sonny? What? Can you hear me, Sonny?
You're good.
There we go.
All right. Yeah, that was a fabulous story and great job. And he's a celebrity now. He's in Carolina tonight, as probably a lot of people know. And I just heard him on the radio on the way here, and he's meeting his fans. He said tonight. So
yeah.
So that's that's pretty cool. And yeah, as far as the weirdest thing, I don't know. I'd have to think about that one for a little bit. Maybe I can get back to you as we move along here.
Yeah, now, Coach, have you ever had a backup goalie situation where all of a sudden you've had to go? I mean, you haven't had to lose two goalies in a game, have you?
Well, not in one game.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx anything. I knock on wood.
At certain times, though, yeah.
Yeah.
But we've been able to rally, though. So.
Yeah, that's good. Guys, I want to ask you each about your backgrounds. And, Alex, I'll start with you so you can kind of help facilitate as we talk about backgrounds and where the guys are from. If you could just tell us where you're from and how you got here with the Rough Riders in Cedar Rapids.
Yeah, so I'm from Bedford, New Hampshire, and I was lucky enough to get drafted here, and I was fortunate enough to make it out of both camps.
And then, Nikolai, I'll ask you next, your background and where you're from, how you got here with the Rough Riders.
Hi, my name is Nikolai Mayorov. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Russia, city Tumen. I played one game in Canada, and I watched and change going to Cedar Rapids.
That's very good. Yegor, how about you? Where are you from?
I'm from Belarus, Minsk, 17 years old. Me invited to the camp, and after it, I'm stayed in the team.
Okay, now, Nikolai, you're from Russia. Yegor, you're from Belarus. What has life in the U.S. been like in this country? What's it been like to be in America? Igor? I like Igor. You're very polite. You raise your hand. I think you're the first Rough Rider to do that, so you get points for that.
For me, in America, I live more comfortable because America more future and more good people. They told you and everyone can tell you sorry and Belarus. If I hit one guy, it's what are you doing? And in America, sorry, my bad.
So they're more polite in America. They say sorry and everything. Nikolai, how about you? What do you like about America?
I like people good and food in restaurants, everything.
Now, what's your favorite food in America? Do you have a favorite food?
Pasta, chicken, and pizza, and meat.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Now, you guys both live together, right? You're in the same house.
Yeah.
What's that been like for each of you guys? Do you get along?
Yeah, maybe pasta, chicken.
Yeah?
No, I like Irish taco. Yeah, every Tuesday or another days we eat taco, and whole team come at home and we eat together.
Taco parties, Taco Tuesdays, those are big. So are you guys going to do Taco Tuesday then tonight?
I think so. No.
Yeah.
I think next week.
Okay, all right. We might have to have a Taco Tuesday lowdown. That's what we should do sometime. We should do a themed lowdown. Now, I was going to ask you guys in terms of, I heard, this is from the emails, this is from both Yegor and Nikolai. I heard you guys like ranch dressing
I think so.
for food, yeah?
Yes.
That's a very Midwest, that's an Iowan thing.
Yeah, I like a barbecue.
A barbecue, okay.
No, I like ranch.
Ranch,
All
okay.
food I eat with ranch.
Everything gets ranch.
Yes.
That's what I heard. That's a good one. That's true of a lot of Iowans. Now, Alex, how about you? Are you a ranch guy?
No, I'm plain.
Plain.
No dressings, no nothing.
No dressings, not even a salad. You know, you're not putting any ranch on it?
Nope, plain.
All right. Coach, I was going to ask you, you've seen a lot of different players in your years. You've had to coach guys from all across the country, different ages, different skill levels. When you coach international players, is that a challenge in terms of coaching, communicating? What's that like when you recruit and then have international players come onto the team?
Well, I think, sometimes it can be, but these guys here have done a great job and of understanding things. And a lot of the language in hockey is kind of, is kind of universal.
That's true.
So they've done a good job, with that. And I probably can do a better job of learning a few words. Have been great with that this year. But these guys have been really good with understanding things.
Now, Alex and Yegor, I'll ask you both. You're the two youngest players on the team, I think I read. What's the challenge of playing against older players in the USHL? And Alex, I'll ask you first.
Coming from my last year's team, it's definitely a step up, of course. I think the biggest thing is like maturity throughout the year. Just more of it has to be with, I'd say, I'm stumped right now. I think it has to do with, just pretty much being stronger, faster with all the older guys. Just trying to keep up.
Now, I was also going to ask you, Alex, you scored your first USHL goal back in December, and I heard you got the puck as a memento. Where do you keep that?
Right now, it's in a drawer in my dresser.
All right.
Like right next to my bed.
All right. But a very important spot. You know you're not going to lose it.
Yeah.
All right, is that eventually going to get framed, do you think, one day? Is that going to be behind glass?
Maybe. Depends.
Okay. Now, Nikolai, I'll ask you, and Alex might have to help translate, but I read an article about you, and I read that your sister would like it if you stayed in America and played in the NHL.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
She would like to probably come to an NHL game?
Yes.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Now, Alex, I also want to touch on college commitments. You're committed to play at New Hampshire. What was the recruiting process like? I know that's back where you're from, obviously.
To be honest, it was really short. That was the only school I visited, and right after my visit, I didn't need to see any other schools. my heart was on that one. And it's close to home. It's maybe 40-45 minutes, so both my parents can come see me play. Just a good fit all around.
Okay. Yegor, I'll ask you, what do you like to do off the ice? Hobbies, what do you like to do when you're not playing hockey?
I read books. Now I read books. The Shining.
Shining, okay.
Yes. I learn English. And I watched hockey practice video on YouTube and motivation.
Okay. Nikolai, how about you? What do you do when you're not playing hockey? Hobbies?
And YouTube and movie show maybe, and serial Supernatural. I like it.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What do you watch on YouTube? What do you watch?
Hockey and highlights.
That's a good, yeah.
Maybe games.
That's a good thing. Alex, how about you? What do you like to watch or do in your free time in terms of hobbies?
Well, now I'm still in school, so homework sometimes comes, or should come first.
Good correction.
Homework.
We can edit that out. So
Homework or YouTube. I know my Bills just got Disney Plus, so sometimes watching that with my Billet brothers, which is fun.
That opens up a whole new world of opportunities. Got a lot of stuff to watch. Now, Alex, I'll keep it with you. I know I'm hitting you with a lot of questions, but you also had the opportunity to play in the 2020 BioSteel All-American game.
Yep.
What was that experience like?
It was a fun experience. Playing with guys I've actually never met before, so it's cool to make some new friends on the team. It's cool to play in that arena. I've never played in that arena before, and it's good atmosphere. Not the turnout we wanted. I think we lost 6-1, but it's all right.
Now, for those who aren't familiar, where was the game played at?
Plymouth, Michigan. At the new USA Hockey Arena.
Very cool. And before I get into the questions specifically from the housing families or the housing families inspired questions, I'll take a brief break and say the Riders play 2 games coming up this weekend. They're both at home, so that's good. Friday against Sioux Falls, that's Rally Towel Green Out Night. The first 1,000 fans get a Rally Towel. That's courtesy of the Rough Riders Booster Club. And then Saturday, taking on Sioux City, and that's ALS Jersey Auction Night. ALS, always an important cause, especially with the Rough Riders, so that's always a good night. 2 great games. I might have to get out to one of those games this weekend. That's a lot of good stuff going on. So, Coach, I'll ask you, I was going to ask you back a few weeks ago, but you had a scouting trip that you were on. High school Rough Riders team, they had a story on KCRG about them recently. Your thoughts about that, getting players kind of involved in the game of hockey? They're obviously at a lower level, but they're getting interested, and they've made a lot of strides, too, it sounds like, over the years.
Yeah, I think youth hockey is really growing here, and the players are really developing. Dustin Tim's doing a real good job as the youth hockey director, and the high school program is growing every year, and they're doing a really nice job. And we're seeing a lot of young boys and young girls that are enrolling all the time. And we had I think close to 200 people at Try Hockey for Free Day this past weekend, so that was a big success as well. And so I think everything's going in the right direction there for sure as far as growing youth hockey.
Now, Coach, I also wanted to get your thoughts. We had a little lighthearted conversation the last time I hosted with the guys. It was before Ricochet's 21st birthday party at the stable, that game. And I was asking the guys how difficult they thought it'd be to skate in the Ricochet costume. And so I wanted to get your thoughts on it. How difficult over the years? I mean, you've been here 21 years now. That has to be quite the feat. You put on the big head, put on the costume, and then you have to get out there. And he skates pretty well. He or she, so we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. He or she gets around pretty well.
Yeah.
Years ago, when he took the ice, he fell down. His head fell off. So
the mystery was exposed that time.
That did happen.
Yeah.
That was classic for that to happen. But no, we're lucky to have Ricochet. Sometimes, like, he tries to sneak in the dressing room, like, too early before we go out for the game, and I got a little bit upset with Ricochet last weekend, I think. was getting down there too close to the room, you know what I mean, trying to get involved with the boys.
Right.
He's got to know his role, you know what I mean?
Right. You got to kind of stay in your lane sometimes.
Yeah, it's really important. You got to stay in your area.
Yeah, stay in your area, for sure. Now, I did ask the guys, and I'm sure, there was some bias about that, but they said that Ricochet, I kind of biased it too. I said, that's the best nickname in the USHL. I just love that. Ricochet, it all works with hockey, and even though he needs to stay in his lane sometimes, I think he's got a lot going for him, too. He's got a lot of benefits.
Yeah, he does. He's got a lot of benefits. Ricochet's good, and I'm a big fan of Gritty out of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He's Gritty's tremendous. Causes all kinds of issues down there in South Philly. Enjoys a nice cheesesteak at Pat's.
Yeah.
Gets out in the city and does all kinds of things in the rink. He's pretty popular.
He is.
Popular guy.
All right. Now, guys, I'll ask you first, and Alex, I'll start with you. If you can tell us, when we talk about the housing families, just tell us a little bit about who you live with and what that's been like as an experience in terms of your housing family.
Yeah, so I live with Jay and Jen Scheffner. They have 3 boys. The oldest, Dane, who's actually older than me. And then the middle one is Gavin, and the youngest is Cannon. It's awesome.
We have a little cheering section out in the audience, so people didn't pick that up on the mic.
It's awesome to come home. To them, it's just like a family away from another family. They make me feel at home right away. I think like the biggest thing with like me coming, because to be honest, like at the beginning of the year, I was a little homesick, and them just making it like more comfortable, whether it's having like a Nerf gun fight with Cannon, going to Gavin's football game, or playing one-on-one against Dane, or playing Xbox. They just make me feel comfortable each and every day.
Now, Yegor, I'll ask you next. Who do you live with? Whom do you live with? Who's your housing family?
I live with Irish and Irish. Big house I like, but it's not house. This Road Riders Museum.
Say that again, Igor.
Huh?
Say that again.
What?
The last part.
Road Riders Museum.
The Rough Riders Museum?
Yes.
That's what it's like?
Yeah.
Big house, Rough Riders Museum.
All the guys go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alex, do you want to fill in on that? I know you had a
Like in between practice, that's usually like the hot spot, the downstairs. Some guys will go there, watch TV, play ping pong before we have to go to practice. So.
And ping pong, I've heard, maybe Alex, you're on this too, but I heard with Nikolai and Yegor that ping pong, you guys play that a lot?
Yes. But Nikolai play better than me.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I'd read that Nikolai, that you're the better ping pong player, and I was going to ask if that's true. Are you the better ping pong player? Yeah. Yegor, and you agree that he's the better ping pong player?
Yes, but couple times I won Nikolai.
Okay. So you're improving.
Yeah.
You're going to get there. Alex, have you played ping pong with the guys before?
Yeah, personally, I think I'm getting better, but Nikolai's the best.
All right. Now, is that on the team or just between you 3?
I think just between us 3.
Now, who would be the best on the team in your estimation? Put you on the spot.
I mean, when Sass is hot, he's up there.
We learn new skill sets from Max every week almost.
Yeah,
I think on the show we get hosting, we get singing, we get acting, everything.
But
Ping pong.
the other one for sure is Nate Hanley.
Okay, Nate's up there. Now.
No, I think JT Tonelli not bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And for those, I know this is a radio show, but Yegor also gave the point out to the club. He gave some daps out to the audience too, so that was good. Now, Alex, I'll also ask you, in addition to being a translator tonight, I heard that you drive the guys around from time to time. Is that true?
Yeah, that's. I drive them around practice, from workout. Like usually the system, how it goes is we'll get a text from JT, and then I'll DM Yegor, like the time, and they'll just be outside waiting, and then that's pretty much every day.
So you got it down to science.
Yeah,
You guys
I
got it
don't
down.
have to say. All I can say is like 8:30, and then they know.
You got it.
Yeah.
Nikolai, you agree? It's been real easy. You get rides. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And now, Alex, as long as we're talking about driving and rides, I heard from the housing families there's a little car accident, just a small. So you want to tell us a little bit about that situation?
Well, some of the guys, actually, only these two know what happened. None of the guys know.
I'm sorry, we got to expose it on here.
One day, I think it was before, I forget what game, a home game. I was dropping them two off, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm backing out, and I'll admit, like, I wasn't really paying attention to backing out, and Ivy's and Gary's son, Matt, his car was parked, and I backed up into it. And then, like, I'm freaking out. All I see, I just hear them two laughing the whole time. They're just laughing, and then I'm freaking out. Like, so like I called my billet mom. I didn't know what to do, but like I knew, and then it was embarrassing, but I mean,
it all worked out. You're still here.
Yeah.
And Nikolai, you were laughing the whole time. Do you remember the car accident in the store?
Yes. Alex is going upstairs. He's going, what do you do? What do you do?
Yes,
Give me number, Ivy, please.
we stayed together with Nikolai, and I told him, Nicky, watch it. I look back, and Alex hit Matt cars, and we start to laugh.
Yeah. So
I look at Alex. What do you do? Look at the back. What?
Now, Alex, I also heard that because of this, maybe, that I think it said your mom that when you were going to pull out of the garage once, you were like, you got to do this because you were scared of hitting the sides.
Yeah.
Is this true?
Yeah. Early in I was not sure. Like, I didn't want to. It was like one of the first days, and like it was a tight squeeze in the garage, and I didn't want to.
Right. You don't want to start off your housing family time
on the wrong foot.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Yegor, I'll ask you. I heard from your housing family that you really like Halloween. You like celebrating Halloween in America. What did you dress as? What did you go as for Halloween?
I was Rick. It is from Multfilm Rick and Morty.
Okay, so Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Rick, it is Granddad, Crazy Granddad.
The Crazy Granddad.
Yeah.
Now, do you like that show?
Yes.
Obviously, yeah. And Nikolai, how about you? What'd you go as for Halloween?
Killer costumes.
A killer, okay.
That was my first Halloween in America.
First Halloween.
Yes.
Did you guys get a lot of candy, treats?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah, that always works. What's your favorite candy, Nikolai? You like something to eat? Favorite candy?
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat?
Yeah.
That's a good choice. Igor, how about you? You have a favorite candy?
Snickers.
Snickers? Those are both solid choices. Alex, I'll ask you too. Favorite candy?
Anything sweet.
Anything sweet? All right, that's a good one. Now, I also heard that, I believe in Igor's case, you brought back a lot of stuff to Belarus, like a lot of candy, American candy. They don't get that over in Belarus? Yeah.
I bought a lot of candy for my family, for my friends, for my last coach. I love American bubble gum.
Okay.
Yes.
So you were a popular guy. They all liked you when you came back. You had all the candy and everything. Coach, have the guys ever brought you any candy or anything? It seems like maybe you're missing out on some stuff.
Nikolai bring me.
Yeah. Nikolai?
Yeah.
Did you bring Coach anything? No? Nothing at all? Nothing from Russia?
Igor?
Huh?
Igor, you bring me?
Igor?
Yeah, Igor did.
Yeah.
Yeah, Igor.
What'd you bring?
Nice cookie.
Yes.
Yeah. And some, Tammy, what would you call them? Like, some nice, it's like souvenirs and stuff.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, Belarus, yeah.
Something from Belarus. Like trinkets, that's nice.
Yeah, trinkets, yeah, very nice.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Now, Alex, as long as we're talking about food, I know you got to hand the mic back, but I heard that through the housing families, I had to double check this too, this sounded like a lot. I heard you eat at least a pound of strawberries a day. Is this true?
Is one, well, it could be a pound. Is one basket of strawberries a pound?
I think so. I don't know for sure.
Well,
that's a big, that's a lot of
Yeah,
strawberries.
because that pretty much right before, or not right before I go to bed, but before I go to bed, it's like any type of fruit, like grapes, strawberries, a fruit bowl.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's healthy. That'll meet all the, you don't have to worry about ruining your diet or anything with that. How about Alex? We'll keep it with you. The last time I was talking to the guys, the last show we had, I was asking about superstitions, anything they have to do before a game. Do you have anything, something you have to eat or something you have to do before a game?
Well, actually, I eat a lot of fruit on game day. I'll usually, I don't think it's superstitions, but like more like a routine. Like I'll shower at the same time at 4. I'll listen to the same music. I think one thing that I don't do, like I don't tie my dress shoes. For some reason. And then maybe a superstition in warm-ups. I do the same thing every game.
All right, but not tying the dress shoes. That's a very specific one. That's a good one.
Yeah, like I just like not tying, like going to the rink, slipping them off, like just not wasting any time on my shoes.
Now, a lot of the details that funneled through the housing family questions, a lot of this was food themed. And Yegor, I'll ask you. I heard that you go through a lot of croissants. Do you like croissants?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard like a dozen every couple of days, maybe. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. Now, did you have croissants before you came to America, or is that something you just ate here in the States?
In the States.
In the States?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a discovery.
Me too.
Nikolai, you like croissants too? Yeah? Okay, so that's been like an American ranch dressing and croissants. Yes, there you go. But do you put ranch dressing on the croissants? Yeah?
Yes.
Wow, wow.
Tell them about the pancakes. What you put on the pancakes.
Yegor, do you put ranch dressing on the croissants?
No.
No, okay, yeah. That's a weird one. That's a weird combination for sure. Now, how about, we just started doing this a few weeks back, how about housing family pets? You guys have any pets in the house? Alex, I'll start with you.
I have none. Well,
No.
I'm actually allergic.
Okay.
To dogs and cats.
Dogs, cats, the whole nine?
Mm-hmm.
Yegor, do you have any pets in the house?
Yes, we have one dog, and sometimes Matt, the son, bring his dog
Okay.
a couple times, and after times or and the next day brings the dogs at his house.
So you've got a couple of dogs over there from time to time. Nikolai, do you like dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah? Now, do you guys have dogs back home?
Cat.
You're more of a cat guy? Okay, that's good. I haven't heard that from any of the players yet, so that's good. Yeah, we've got a cat guy in there. How about actually, I wanted to ask you guys, we ask this almost every week, any shows we should be checking out? I know that we ask this, we kind of talked about Rick and Morty already and some stuff on YouTube, but Alex, any shows we should be checking out, watching right now?
I remember, I think last time, Bennett Zamolik said All-American, but I'll go with All-American.
Okay.
I'm actually probably going to watch it after I get home.
All right.
New one came out.
That's next up. Igor, any shows you like to watch in America? We know Rick and Morty, right? You like that?
Yes, but I don't know Sherlock Holmes. It's American.
Sherlock Holmes? Yeah, that's a good one.
And Peaky Blinders.
Okay.
I watched.
Peaky Blinders in there as well. Nikolai, do you have things you like to watch here, favorite shows, maybe since you've come to the United States?
Yes, and Supernatural.
Supernatural, that's in there?
It's a long serial.
Okay.
It's more.
So that's a lot of shows to watch. Okay. It's a lot to do. That takes up a lot of time then. That's good. Now, the other thing I heard TV related was Nikolai and Yegor, maybe you can both answer this. I heard that you started to have Russian translated movies. You watch them like down in the basement at the housing family. Like you'll have the movies on the big screen. Is that true? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now, what kind of movies do you guys watch when you do that? Are they Russian movies or American movies in Russian?
And American and Russian.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
But more times we watched Russian films.
Okay. How about...
It is films, it is American films, but on Russian language.
in Russian? Okay. So American films in Russian. What's your favorite movie that you've watched recently? Do you have a favorite film?
My favorite film is Player Number One Ready,
Okay.
and I Love Miracle. It's about hockey.
That's a good one. That's hockey related, yeah.
And I don't know how tell this film in English.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but-
Nikolai, do you have a favorite American film you like to watch?
I like it one time in Bad Boy.
Okay. Bad Boys. Yeah, that's a good one. Did you watch the latest one, the newest one that just came out? Yeah. Alex, how about you? Have a favorite movie, favorite film?
I'd have to go Miracle.
Yeah, that's a good one, hockey-related too. All right, and then before we get final thoughts, I want to ask each of you guys, maybe this would be interesting with Nikolai and Yegor, but I'll start with you, Alex. Favorite nickname on the team? Who do you think has the best nickname on the squad?
I'd have to go, I think Michael Suda last time said Yegor Klavdiev, but I'm going to stick with Yegor. Some of the guys call him Klava. I'm going to go with that. It kind of rolls off the tongue.
Okay, that's a good one. Yegor, do you agree with that? Do you think your nickname is the best on the team, the nicknames?
Yes, but a couple guys call me Klava, and a couple guys call me the Claw.
The Claw? Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think that might be up at the top of my list for sure. Nikolai, do you have a favorite nickname on the team?
Niki.
Nicky?
Nikolai is in short Niki.
It's simple, but it's good. Yeah.
It's in Russian and same, and my nickname and Mayorov, Mayor.
Okay, that's a good one. Now, Nikolai, I have to ask you this too, because I think I read this in an article before we wrap up. Max mentioned once that you like to dance in the locker room. You like to dance? Is this true?
Maybe yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, after game.
After game? All right, like a
Win?
celebration dance, right. You don't dance after you lose, though. No. Alex, have you ever seen Nikolai dance?
He's got some good moves.
He's got some good moves. Yegor, have you seen Nikolai dance?
Yes, Nikolai dance so pretty.
Do you think it's pretty good?
Yeah.
Coach, have you ever seen Nikolai dance after a win?
I have not, but I'm going to make sure that I see it very soon.
Yeah. Hopefully you can see it twice this weekend.
Well, that's the goal, yeah.
That's the goal.
See, back-to-back performances.
Back-to-back dancing performances. So I'll ask the final question. I always ask this every week, and Alex, maybe you can facilitate. Anything we left out or we didn't get to, anything that the housing families or I didn't cover that we should definitely talk about during the show?
I mean, I don't think so. I think you covered everything.
It's pretty comprehensive. Igor, anything else you want to say before we finish? Anything else you want to throw out there?
Yes. When I flew in Cedar Rapids look like my country, Belarus, so clear and flat area, a lot of forests, and I like it.
Yeah, so you like Cedar Rapids,
Yes.
the scenery and everything?
Yes.
Nikolai, anything else you want to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cedar Rapids has been nice, yeah. A little different than Russia and Belarus. This is quite the difference. How about Alex? Is it that much different than New Hampshire? I've been to New Hampshire once. Was Iowa tough to get used to with the Midwest?
Not really.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing might have been the different food chains. That was might be the biggest thing.
Now, as far as whether it's a national food chain that is just on the East Coast or something local, what's the go-to spot around New Hampshire that someone should check out if they're ever around the area?
I mean, Tuscan Bar and Grill.
All right.
That's just like family-owned pasta restaurant. It's good.
So that sounds like a go-to spot for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so as we wrap up, I want to thank all the guys for making time for us. Yegor, Alex, and Nikolai, and also Coach. Thanks, guys, for making the time. Appreciate it. Round of applause for the guys up here. I want to remind everyone that the Riders have 2 upcoming games, their home games this weekend, also 2 chances for Nikolai to dance in the locker room afterwards. So I know that you won't be able to see that since that'll be in the locker room, but you can kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Hopefully the Rough Riders get 2 wins. Friday, once again, against Sioux Falls. That happens to be Rally Towel Green Out Night. First 1,000 fans get a Rally Towel. That's thanks, courtesy of the Booster Club with the Rough Riders. And then Saturday, taking on Sioux City, that's ALS Jersey Auction. So there'll be an auction, a jersey auction after the game, so stick around for that. We will be back next week for another Lowdown on Ridertown. Also, a reminder, this is on my mind. We finally got our software to upload the audio to YouTube, so over the next 2 weeks, we'll have all these shows that we've recorded over the past few weeks up online, so people can go back and listen to the shows we've had. We'll finally get that up there and going as well. We want to make sure we do that. So we'll get those up, and then